I'm pretty sure you cannot do 100 push-ups. Even if you say you can do 100 push-ups, at least you can't do 100 push-ups the right way and in a way that will actually get you gains. So here's the thing with plenty of guys. Everybody thinks they can do a whole ton of push-ups. They think they can do them consecutively and they think they are badass. But 9 times out of 10, the people who tell you they can do a lot of push-ups are just cutting corners on their push-ups. Let's take a look at 3 stealth push-up mistakes that may make you think you're a lot stronger and better at push-ups than you think. But if you actually want gains, you're gonna cut these mistakes out, do fewer push-ups, and get a lot better of a chest pump out of it. So before we get into these push-up mistakes, let's take a look at what an ideal push-up looks like. When we do an ideal push-up, we're going to get our chest to within an inch of the ground, and then we're gonna press all the way up. And very often the mistakes that we're gonna see with the push-up are essentially just people cutting corners. Again, that way they can tell you they do like 50 to 75 to 100 push-ups that they don't actually do. So our first mistake, our stealthiest mistake on the push-up is actually just cutting it short and not going all the way to the top. So very often you'll see people not complete the rep at the top. And a couple things happen on that. One, it's easier because we have less time under tension total for every single rep. And 2, they're not getting anything out of this push-up for their triceps. When we're training our push-ups, we're training our chest, our shoulders, and our triceps primarily, but the triceps are most involved during that lockout sequence. So what we should see at the top of every single push-up rep is that my hand, my elbow, and my shoulder are all stacked and tight and flexed, and that is how we want to handle the push-up. So our first mistake is cutting things short at the very top and not going through that full range of motion. The hardest part of the push-up is actually that moment where we are an inch from the ground. That is also the position during the push-up where we're getting the most stretch on our chest, and we know that being in those stretch positions and getting that stretch on the muscle under tension is critical for growth, but we cut that short by just not going all the way down, and this one is imperceptible very often, but you'll just see people cutting their push-ups short. So now I'm going all the way up to the top, but I'm not going nearly as far down to the bottom as I'm capable of. I'm cutting 2 to 3 inches out of that, so I'm not gonna get that maximum stretch on my chest. I'm not gonna really take advantage of the push-up to its full extent. And again, I'm cutting time under tension. This time it's almost worse too, because I'm cutting time under tension in that critical stretch portion of the rep, so I'm not really getting everything out of the push-up. Again, it's just making it easier for me to pile up a better number, but it's not giving me the chest development I want. And our third mistake is leveraging off of the push-up and basically taking tension off of our chest. Our goal on the push-up, whether I'm in the bottom position or the top position, I want to be a straight line from my shoulder all the way down to my feet. And I want to maintain that as I do every single push-up rep. But very often, and you'll see this often as people, when they get, let's say 30 to 40 reps and they start to fatigue, what they start to do is they cheat from this position into this position. And suddenly, my hips are up a little bit higher and I've taken some load off of my chest. I'm no longer moving as a single piece. I've taken tension off of my core that way. So I've essentially deloaded my push-up so I can sneak out a couple more reps. I've also changed the angle a little bit for my chest, so I'm not getting as much out of it as I could be. So our final mistake winds up being cutting out that load, moving away from that totally straight torso position. That way I'm not getting as much out of the push-up. Again, it's gonna let me pile up more numbers, but if I really, really want chest development, that's not what I want to do. Now, if I really want chest development, if I really want to show that I can truly do push-ups and dominate push-ups, and if I want to pile up big numbers, but in a useful way that's really going to enhance chest, shoulders, and triceps and give me max training stimulus, here's how you're going to do the push-up. All we're going to do is we're going to add pauses at the top and the bottom, and we're going to essentially count out 1 full second. You're not going to be able to rush through these. You're not going to be able to do cheap push-ups, because what we're going to do, we're going to get into our push-up position, start with our glutes squeezed and our abs tight, and when I get down to the bottom, I'm going to hold for 1 full second, and I'm going to press all the way up. At the top, I'm also going to hold for 1 second. And working back and forth between these two positions, know there's a very good chance that you're not going to be able to do 100 push-ups or 75 push-ups or maybe even 50 push-ups, because now we're piling up time under tension. We're working through a full range of motion. We get that time under tension in the stretch position. And so you're not going to be able to pile up any reps, but you will pile up a lot more muscular tension, and you will pile up a lot more stimulus for muscle growth, because now you're doing push-ups the right way. So stay away from the stealthy mistakes. Learn to take your time on every single rep. This is not a race, and it doesn't matter how many reps or how many hundreds or thousands of reps you do. It's better to do 30 to 40 push-ups with that really controlled tempo than do any of the other push-ups that you're seeing anybody do on Instagram if you really want gains.